Hi everyone, welcome to the Co-op School. Today we have a lot to talk about. Let's go back a little to remember everything that happened. On 18th of July, we received an email stating the verifiable facts to why Arusha was suspended. So at that point, we knew of 5 things that were in Arusha's job description but was not carried out by him. In the following board meeting, there were 3 old co-opers and all of them talked to the board members in breakout rooms. One of these members, Tom Cook, was willing to make his statement public, and now we will have a look at it together. A friend sent me the letter outlining the board's allegations as to why they placed the ED on probation. This should be a cause of great concern to you. These allegations are either insignificant or untrue. You should be extremely satisfied with Arusha's impeccable behavior of our executive director. The aim of Tom's letter seems to be to convince the membership that there were many negative aspects of living at UCHA before Arusha was hired, and that he shouldn't be fired for the reasons the board has presented. He starts introducing the desperate times of the co-op starting from the 80s. The cracks in the system began to show, and by 1985, things were getting bad. We had gone through many EDs and nothing was getting fixed. The place was filthy. The stainless steel in the kitchen was actually yellow because no one had cleaned it. There were no continuity, no long-term planning, and fewer things got done. A current member posted that section of Tom's statement in the alumni Facebook group, and the reactions were mostly opposing to Tom's interpretation of the decade. Working in the office and in Memcom, I remember many projects being planned and executed. My daughter lives there now. I think that is about the highest endorsement I can give. Kitchen was scrubbed daily. There was a good maintenance team as well. How does this person think the Robinson renovation got done? How would that not be long-term planning? According to his letter, Tom started living at UCHA at 1984 anyways, so he wasn't there at the 80s. Now here's a couple examples to what he said about the time when he actually lived in the co-op. In the beginning of every fall quarter, we would have full occupancy. Then 10 to 15 students would move out because they couldn't stomach the living conditions. Then another 80 to 100 students would move out over Christmas. How did the EDs back then try to solve that problem? By forcing everyone to sign a 3-quarter school year-long contract. After I checked in, I wasn't assigned a shift for 6 weeks. Things were that loosey-goosey. Then all of a sudden, at the end of the quarter when students had finals, I was told I had to do all of the work shifts I had missed or be expelled. Not only that, I had to wait to find work shifts where people didn't show up so I could replace them. We lack the money to provide good food. The food served today is 10 times better than 25 years ago. Back then people referred to it as prison food and also called it slop. So now let's have a co-op reality moment together. We discussed the food in house meetings. We complained about lack of vegetarian food. We complained about raw food. Problems with the food have been an issue that co-opers couldn't know how to solve. KCC said this year in a house meeting that there was nothing he could do, and we still have the same chefs. Here's an outcry from last January. I don't think anything will change because the co-op have been tolerating this chef's food for years, and many built a strong immune system already. Now back to the letter, and Tom Cook's examples from his experience at the co-op before Arusha was hired. Before we hired Arusha, I personally witnessed 3 different executive directors. One of them was a BOD president who assumed the ED's job for months without anyone's approval. We summoned the BOD president and he couldn't prove his student registration. It turned out that he had graduated the year before and hadn't been a student since. Out of all Tom's statements, I chose this to be the most iconic. This is just ridiculous. There was a group about 15% to 20% of the members that would never go away. They weren't students either. I will call them the freeloaders. Many had learned how to work the system, felt entitled to what they had here, and developed a network of friends that helped them out. As a result of the lack of oversight over credit writing by crew chiefs, the yearly number of credits written exceed fines by about $20,000. You can find more examples of how Tom criticizes the era he lived in and how he praises Arusha as the solution to most of these problems. Another important point to know is that Tom was on the board when they voted to hire Arusha. Now let's see how the weather has been in the last 2 weeks and what we should expect. We're with you, Sam.
Hey man, it's that time of the week, or every other week. I don't really know how consistent this is. Anyway, yeah, we predicted rain, we predicted storms. It rains, it pours. This place really isn't a bore, but nonetheless, there was rain, not in the way we predicted, but there was like crazy downpour. A-wing, B-wing, it was nuts. Water, there's firemen and everything, just like the movies. There's never been this much water in LA. Most water in LA in one spot. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Anyway, for more information, we got Mark on the scene. Yo, Mark!
Hello, fellow Co-op Scoop watchers. I'm here letting you know that I'm not doing it this week. I was mistreated pretty badly last week, and the working conditions are just not livable at this current time. So, thanks for understanding.
I guess we don't have deadbeat ass Mark on the thing, trying to bring the news, but luckily we got a local civilian who put his life on his line to bring you the facts. This is how strong fucking Co-op Scoop is. Look at this man. Look at this man.
Hi Sam, the weather is much worse than expected. It's even affected Robinson. Severe thunder showers in the entire Robinson. Back to you, Sam.
Sorry. We actually got an update from the producers. We actually have the survivor in the studio. Come out, man. Come out. Hi. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hey, my name's Will, and I was the survivor on the scene, and I guess I took up the responsibility of being the news reporter.
I guess I have a few questions for you. First, would you like beer, liquor, paint thinner, glue? Is anything to loosen up?
I'm okay, thanks.
Okay. Second question. How did you feel during this incident?
Yeah, well, first, I saw water come down from the ceiling and water come up from the floor, and then I just thought I'd get to the source of the water, so I went up the stairs, and I saw just all this water spraying down, and, it reminded me to last week's Co-op Scoop where I saw Mark, being held down by the asbestos, and I was like, I don't know, I just thought he was so brave to put himself there that I kind of wanted to be like him, so I just put myself in there, and I got the camera going, and I just kind of wanted to be like Mark, really.
Well, you'd be maybe happy, disappointed. I don't really know how you feel. I don't know you, man, but Mark couldn't actually make this one because he's too much of a bitch to show up, so he's not the brave man you thought, and you're actually the brave man that you thought Mark was. So I actually want to present this to you. This would have been given to Mark if he showed up on the suit. This is the Jesus, the platinum Jesus of bravery to help us find the truth. You put sacrifices for us to know the truth in the co-op, and I just wanted to thank you for your time.
Wow, thank you, I appreciate it.
Of course.
Have a little camera op moment.
Yeah. And would you like to thank anyone? Just any last words?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking to dedicate this to Mark, but I feel like I did earn it, so yeah, I'm just going to be proud of this by myself. Just thank you and Co-op Scoop for having me.
Sorry to cut you off there, but I'm getting information saying we're running out of time, so you need to get the fuck out of here. Seriously, just leave. Thank you though. Goodbye. Okay, back to you, Muge.
History does matter to see the bigger picture. However, we can't really change the law. Now let's look at Tom Cook's reaction to the legal facts that BOD presented regarding the suspension. If the board had kept their lines of communication with the ED longer, instead of isolating him, and looked into their concerns informally and explicitly voiced their concerns to the ED, it would have been easy to find out the truth. Then there would have been no reason for an investigation, much less a suspension, and none of this would have happened. But they failed to do that. Now I need to give you spoilers to give more information about this statement. BOD sent a performance review letter to membership, and the explanation to this is in that report. On June 25th, the BOD had an executive meeting with the ED. The directors presented a list of their concerns, explained what they expected from the ED, and provided them with the opportunity to address these concerns. Instead of providing the BOD with explanations or ways to resolve these concerns, the ED denied any responsibility for the raised concerns and instead pointed to different employees, outside professionals, and crew chiefs as the problem. Back to Tom Cook. They made a public allegation in writing that $1.3 million to $2.5 million are missing, and currently no such funds exist. These funds do exist. The performance report explains how a certain amount of that money exists, but still not in the right accounts. One of BOD's points was that the board wasn't informed about the existence of certain official policies. After inquiring, Arusha showed them the paper copies, some of which didn't have Co-op's name on them. Tom says, I want to name these except to say all of these policies sat on a shelf on Arusha's office. He showed them to us and we approved them. They were there for anyone to see if they requested it. Yes, they were in his office, and he did show it when the BOD requested to see them, but this still doesn't explain how official documents of UCHA doesn't have UCHA on them. Next point on these facts was that the board wasn't informed about the policy on the process for determination and of compensation. The board had basically said that ED salary should be determined by being compared to other people in similar positions, but it wasn't done that way, and Arusha didn't let them know of that policy. Tom Cook criticizes board, saying that it is each board's duty to pass its knowledge down to the next. However, according to Arusha's job description, which you can find at uchacoop.org, it is actually his job. Lastly, Tom Cook mentions the payment of excess credits. Board had informed the membership that it says in our contract that withdrawing excess credit is prohibited, but Arusha did let some members withdraw money and didn't inform the board. Tom Cook says, we are required by law to pay out the excess credit if someone worked for it. The problem here is that we are not employees. We are students. Some of us are international students without working visas. That was Tom Cook's letter. The Co-op Scoop also sent him a couple more questions for clarity on some matters, and he kindly sent an extended letter. Both letters you can find in the comments, and please don't hesitate to share your point of view. On 29th of July, the president of BOD shared his resignation letter. Ben explained his perspective of things, including his experience as a board member since fall 2019. His letter is intended for our members to read, so I would recommend our members to find this post in the Facebook group and give it a read. The same night, Rodrigo announced that he's resigning from his KC shift. Yes, it is the same Rodrigo who was running to become KCC in our first video. He said, you won't see me wearing the red apron anymore, or perhaps any apron at all, because I feel I have been the target of a lot of retaliation in that hostile environment. I cannot comply with all the wrong things that are happening in the kitchen right now, and I don't think banging my head on the wall will solve it. I simply can't accept unethical attitudes, bad behavior, disrespect, and favoritism. So now I'm moving on to dedicate my time to help Co-op in other ways. We have the BOD meetings, MEMCOM, Engagement Committee, and other initiatives that I'm sure can promote the changes I believe will improve Co-op in long term. He also quoted Adam Grant, saying, "Nonconformists move the world. Let's not be conformists." On 30th of July, membership got an email saying that Arusha's suspension was extended until 7th of August. The same evening, there was the BOD meeting. It went on for 5 hours. There were 3 old co-opers who were there in addition to current members. Here is a clay snippet of the arguments presented.
How much are you spending for the lawyer? The retainer is $3,000, but we have a budget up to $10,000. I'm uncomfortable with how you spend my money without my approval. That's a lot of money. That money will only get you to the door. It won't end there. Co-op can go to litigation for years. Only 5 students deciding this is very selfish. That's the reason we hired a lawyer. We are being careful. We did decide in an executive session, but if this goes on and there is litigation, we will bring it to the membership. If we had hired lawyers openly, there would be aggressive reactions, so we contacted before. You may not be understanding Co-op in its complexity. Board always thinks something shady is going on because they're not familiar with the process. You don't even know what you're talking about, and you're trying to explain it to people. You're not experts.
I don't like that you're making assumptions. We know what we're doing.
You aren't a qualified attorney.
That's why we hired one.
In addition, thanks to Venice's proposal, members can eat outside on the patio and the backyard, number of the people per table being limited to 1 for the patio and 4 for the backyard. 6th of August 2020, membership received performance review report for Arusha. Some was the information that was already given to the membership with the initial statement. Here are the ones that we didn't know. Unprofessional conduct with board members. Multiple board members reported instances of where the ED would use closed-door meetings in his office in order to get a board member to side with the ED against other BOD members or members. Lack of ability to manage people and repeated instances of passing the blame onto subordinates. There have been issues of altering timesheets by the kitchen crew chief and a lack of proper procedure and documentation, causing an inability to properly verify shifts as being worked. The ED acknowledged that he was not aware of it and denied any responsibility to oversee and manage this department and crew, stating that such responsibility rests solely on other employees or crew chiefs. Violations of membership contract. We had mentioned the excess credits withdrawals. This review presents a solid example to that. The KCC had withdrawn more than $3,000 from UCHA over 2 quarters in excess credit. KCC had a total of over 5,000 credit applied to his account from January to May.
Another email from BOD? What the? Where's Arusha? What week is it? Wait, so can I eat on the patio or not? Like, why is Lucas so annoying? What? Where's all this money? What the hell is going on? I'm so confused. Calm down. Calm down. I'm gonna do the math. I'm gonna run the numbers. We're gonna figure this out. Okay, so just tangent of 89 to the 3rd power, graph, theta of pi log pica pica, and just enter. What the? Can't divide by 0? What the hell is going on? Ah! Ah! Ah!
Don't worry, these things happen. You want to care, you want to be involved, and then you realize some of the rules no one follows and you want to change them. You make a proposal, you make a poll, no one replies, and do you even know what you're doing anymore? Well, I think I know how to help you. I offer the No BS calendar for those of you who are having a hard time managing their co-op dreams. This calendar will remind you of what has been going on since the suspension and also inspire you to show up to the meetings and follow your dreams. You can find it at the Triple H cafeteria entrance. Sweet dreams, co-opper. Same day, there was the BOD meeting. It was again more than 4 hours. Members had the chance to have a Q&A with the lawyer involved in Arusha's suspension. What did she tell us? California is an out-will state. Employers can fire for any reason as long as it is not an illegal reason, such as discrimination. The board has been hesitant with sharing information with the members because after releasing the initial statement, they received a demand letter claiming defamation, libel, and age discrimination. Even though those concerns weren't valid, none of the allegations in this letter were supported by any documentary evidence. The letter also mentioned a lawsuit due to these reasons, which is why the board is trying to be careful and avoid that possibility. It is up to the board to show us the demand letter. They are legally allowed to do so. Arusha is asked to provide a response to his performance review report, and board is currently waiting for his response. As Arusha's suspension was to end a day later, another extension was discussed. The board supported giving Arusha a chance to show his side, as they thought membership wanted this suspension to end. However, when the members at the meeting were asked to vote if they wanted the suspension to end or not, 13 people preferred the suspension to be extended. 0 people voted for it to end, and BOD members abstained from the vote. The arguments were that if he had access to his office, he would have access to all the sensitive documents. Another point was that he wasn't stopped from communicating with membership. Actually, he was added to the private Facebook group, a group which most members thought to be for only members. He became part of the group 7 weeks ago, the same week when the board had an executive session and voiced their concerns to him before they started the investigation. Members said in the meeting that Arusha was free to post in that group. What else happened? Sam was accepted to the open position at BOD. And starting from 10th of August, Monday, members will be able to rent silverware from the front office and kitchen will no longer provide plastic cutlery. 7th of August, Arusha's suspension was extended to 17th of August. Thanks for watching us until the very end of this video. Scoop the proof.
Ah!